and as people come in. And if you would like me to start, I can, or if you want to kick us off, you can do that as well.
Okay, fantastic. Hi, my name is Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. We love AI because it's our future. You know, there's a lot of people who are afraid of technology in general. AI is particularly frightening to those people because it's going to create things. But I think the rest of us recognize that it's opportunity. So thank you, Jacob and Yuka, for bringing us here together, talking about the opportunity and how we can take advantage of it. And I turn it over to you. Thank you for leading us today.
Awesome. Thank you, Doug. And thank you for, again, hosting this platform for all of us and all the other incredible events that Global Chamber has for members and some guests like we have today. And so I'll kick us off. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jacob Dietz, and together with my brilliant co-host Yuka Nakasone, the Executive Director of Global Chamber Barcelona, we're thrilled to bring you our fourth installment of the Global Chamber AI series. For those of you new to Global Chamber, we're a unique organization focused on facilitating cross-border connections for businesses around the world. We believe that growth happens when leaders have access to warm introductions, a global network, and the right information. And our mission is really to make growing your business internationally easier than doing business across the street. And speaking of across the street, or really anywhere in the world, today's topic holds urgency for us all. As we're close to celebrating Earth Day, we're putting a spotlight on the complex relationships between artificial intelligence and climate action. AI holds immense potential to solve some of our most pressing environmental challenges, but can we harness its power ethically and sustainably? Is AI a friend, a foe, or something more nuanced when it comes to our planet's health? That's the debate we'll dive into today. And we've got an extraordinary lineup of experts ready to share their insights. And by the way, this isn't your ordinary debate. We're using a format that encourages a lively exchange of ideas. Throughout the debate, our panelists will be taking on different perspectives, offering a deeper exploration of the opportunities and challenges at hand. It's about acknowledging the complexities of this issue and seeing many ways AI can be both a powerful tool and a potential risk. Think of our panelists as sparring partners, pushing each other's thinking and engaging you, our audience. So to kick things off, let's get to know our esteemed panelists a bit better. Each leader will introduce themselves, share a quick note about something exciting them in the world of AI or climate or just in general with their work, and offer just a glimpse into their expertise. Then we'll dive right into the debate. So let's jump in with someone transforming the mining industry through sustainable ethical practices and a strong focus on gender inclusivity. My friend and co-founder of Wow Me Jewels, calling from Tanzania, Mek Mchamvu. Mek. Oh, we can't hear you. We might need to reconnect. And while Mek is reconnecting, I think we got you now.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Meki from East Africa, and I'm very happy to be here with you. Well done, Jacob and the team. This is amazing. Well, I'm working with women in mining all over Africa, turning the beautiful gemstone into traceable using blockchain technology to make state-of-the-art jewelry pieces that are traded all over the world. Apart from that, I work with a platform for Council of African Youth in Minerals. It's just to help them benefit from what is on the ground in Africa, given the fact that there's a just transition and a lot of things are happening. So work with them on that platform. I'm also working with women in mining as a Tanzania Women in Mining and Mineral Industry. It's a 360 platform for women and youth in Tanzania that will help them to catapult whatever they're doing into the mining industry, given the AI era that you're going into. I'm happy to be here. Well, I'm excited with AI in this industry because it's one of the challenging topic and accelerating topic because you don't know where you're heading, you've never been there, you have no idea what you're going to face. So it's accelerating and all that. I've been doing that with blockchain technology and in terms of traceability. So I'm very excited to hear from my fellow panelists and all of you guys here on this debate.
Awesome. Thank you, Meg. And I'm just going to slide it over to Doug, and so we can continue. Doug Morrison, love you for you to introduce yourself to the Global Chamber community. Oh, and you're on mute. And Doug, you're on mute.
Is there another Doug, or are you talking about Doug Brunke?
Yeah, Doug Morrison. Doug, and you're on mute.
Sorry. Right. Yeah, we'll save a lot of time if people just look at my LinkedIn, because I've got quite a long history, longer than most people for some reason. Started off doing research in ultrasound. I'm a physicist. Then I joined the Scientific Civil Service. I was the only physicist in the Scottish Home and Health Department when Chernobyl blew up. And so I had to advise government ministers. First I thought, well, it'll soon blow over, and it did. And then we had to deal with radioactive milk and so on, and a very critical press. But it gave me great experience of seeing how the government responds in an emergency, seeing it from the inside. I've seen it from the outside for COVID, and both of them lead me to think, well, the government's very good at delaying things. You know, if it doesn't want to change, it'll say, oh, yes, we'll set up a committee and we'll write a report. But when it comes to actual action, they're not so good. And I'd say, if you've ever heard the words, I am from the government and I'm here to help, you know you're in deep doo-doo. So I'll maybe leave it at that, but that's the sort of experience I'll be drawing on.
And an important experience to have, especially regarding climate. Thank you very much, Doug, and I'm glad to have you here. I want to now throw it over to Tracy. Tracy, please introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Tom next.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Jacob, for having me. So where do I start? I'm a multi-founder. I'm the founder of both Creative Studio, who works specifically with expats and immigrants around the world, helping them build their own businesses through strategy and design. But I also work with games, and I make games out of politics so that it becomes less of an intimidating topic for people to assume and understand, but rather something that they end up having fun with through games, events, and we work with different businesses and schools and nonprofits to help them also implement that through their businesses as well. I don't want to take too much of everyone's time, so I guess I'll leave it at that, and I hope I can bring a bit more to the table today.
Oh, yeah, I know you'll bring a lot to the table, Tracy, and thank you so much for being here. And check out Commence Games. I really love that approach that they're taking, imaginative approach to a very polarizing topic. All right, Tom, over to you.
Everyone, I'm Tom. I'm an undergrad at American University, pursuing a major in political science with a emphasis in political thought and technological policy. Something that I'm excited for in AI and environment is I'm from Colorado, and we have a lot of farmers there, especially in the region that I'm from. So I'm excited to see how AI can help progress water usage, specifically make it more efficient, as water usage is a hot topic in Colorado, specifically how we use the Colorado River and how we share it with other states. I'm excited to talk about that and excited for the conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom, and so glad to have you here. And we need as many young leaders bringing their voices into the conversation as possible. All right, let's get this Royal Rumble started. As you've heard, our incredible panelists bring a wealth of expertise to this complex question, and they're ready to go head to head on the role of AI in climate action. Remember, things aren't black and white today. Our panelists will shift and adapt their stances throughout the rounds, sometimes arguing as a friend of AI, sometimes as a foe, and sometimes even taking on the role of devil's advocate. They may also opt for the neutral Switzerland perspective, offering a balanced analysis of the issue. And now this is where you, our audience, come in. Pay close attention to their arguments jot down notes, and think critically about the points being made. This discussion is about opening up perspectives and understanding the nuances of AI's role in climate solutions. Ultimately, we want to collectively identify the most responsible path forward for leveraging, yes, was somebody, I must have been something else. But yeah, so please type any questions and insights into the chat. We don't want to miss a single one, and we'll get to as many as possible in our dedicated Q&A session at the end. Without further ado, let's dive into our first round, which is focused on how AI can become a powerful ally in the fight for a cleaner planet. Some questions we're thinking about: can AI optimize renewable energy systems, revolutionize climate modeling, and help us make better decisions for a sustainable future? To find out, let's kick things off with round one, AI's potential for climate solutions. Y'all will have 10 minutes for this round. Panelists, you have the floor, and I would love for anyone to step up and start the conversation. And I'll put some of those questions and the topic in the chat. Tracy, would you like to? I'd love for you to start us out. Tracy, do you want to start us out? And say
sure,
your
I can start. The stance for round one. Can we repeat round one a bit, just so that we're all clear on it?
It's AI's potential for climate solutions.
Yeah. Okay. So it does have a lot of potential for sure. So I'm definitely a friend of it, but a bit of a rocky water friend, because it can have a bit of a bias. And I would like to hit that as a main focal point at first, is how to make sure that AI isn't biased when it comes to providing solutions in climate, from a point of view of looking at different countries and the different issues that they're dealing with, the different situations that they're in, and how each different situation has potential to use AI in ways that aren't biased against them or towards other countries.
Awesome.
This is what I'm focused on at the moment. Yeah, I guess this is what I would start with.
Cool. All right. Who wants to? And y'all can. This is y'all. So let's go. And Yuka, you're also can be part of this too. So let's spark it up. Let's spark. And that's sometimes hard with Zoom, but Tom, Doug.
All right, sure. So, oh, go ahead, Doug.
You can carry on.
Oh, I would agree with Tracy for the most part. I think AI has a lot of potential, but I think AI is so yeah, I would reiterate the friend point, but I think that my main problem with AI is it is very data reliant. So you have to train it on data. And I think when you train it on data that is biased, as Tracy said, the AI will produce biased results. So I think focusing on reducing the bias in the data would help progress AI in a more positive way.
Awesome. Doug, Mech?
I have a crack.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big fan of AI. I think it's got huge potential, but I think the current models are very poor. I want to take the against side now, because I'm at the Francis Crick Institute, and I was taking photographs, and they just closed down the exhibition area. I was going to walk you through them. One of the things it's got is some birds asleep, and they sing in their sleep, and you can see from the brain waves that they're actually singing whilst asleep, and the patterns when they're awake and asleep when they're doing the singing bit, very close. Now, just about every animal that's above microscopic size that's got a brain sleeps. This is a very dangerous thing to do, to sleep. It makes you very vulnerable. So there must be some big advantage. AI seems to utterly ignore this. I don't know of any of these ChatGPT type models that sleep. And would you want to go to a surgeon that hasn't had adequate sleep? Actually, you've got no choice in that because surgeons don't sleep enough either.
It's a very, very interesting point, and really you're adding a unique perspective. Mech, yeah, do you want to add on, dispute, or please add your perspective?
I think I'm gonna go with George. So the thing is with AI, it's so potential. But then right here, I might need to go on the other side, because when we talk about climate change and all that, now I'm talking from the mining perspective, because for us to shift from where we are to where we are heading to the cleaner energy and everything, we need more material in terms of minerals to go to that better future, right? So if we're going to the cleaner energy, AI, as it has been said, it consumes so much electricity to compute the data. How are we going to go with it to that cleaner energy while we're trying to reduce the energy consumption currently? And imagine, for instance, in Africa, we also have issues there with electricity. We all have issues with clean energy. We have issues in all this. So if we look at it as a savior when it comes to going to a better world, when it comes to climate change, it's a tricky one. And in terms of optimizing, in terms of efficiency and optimization of energy and resources, it's a tricky ground to play on. Because now it will increase the cost. I mean, to increase the carbon footprint of what is mined. What you're mining is to take us to that better future, climate-wise. But now you bring AI to this, it consumes more of the power, more of electricity. When we still don't have sustainable measures or sustainable sources of electricity, we don't have, and we don't even have those renewables that are going to run those centers, data computing centers, for my case in Africa. So it's a tricky ground to stand on this matter. But let's see how.
I actually second and would echo what Mike is saying. Because on the one side, there's the biases that AI is being filled with in terms of data, but there's also what Mike is saying, which is the amount of power it takes and the amount of energy that it takes for AI to be powered and then become this very simple tool like ChatGPT that people are using. But there's so much at the back end of it that we end up forgetting how much power it takes and how much drain it has on the climate and energy and everything in between. So I definitely echo what you're saying, Meg, and thank you for raising that point.
It is such a great point. I want to bring in Yuka. Yuka, what are your thoughts on this?
It's I guess you summarized what I was thinking. I am like Tracy. I'm a friend. I'm believing in the potential of the AI, but I'm skeptical about some points like energy usage and impact on climate and impact on the data that is biased in one country. How do you export to another country? That's kind of tricky as well. So I echo what you said. And I was just thinking about how electricity went into the factory. For decades, when electricity went to factories, they used it for just lighting. They didn't know how to power the engine, right? So maybe we are at that moment that we don't know how to use AI very efficiently, and maybe we didn't see the real potential of AI. This is what I'm kind of thinking.
Interesting. Any comments on that? We have about a minute and a half left in this round.
We're definitely at a point where, like you said, Yuka, that it's about finding the plug or how to get the machines to be powered up. But I do think it also is reliant on, rather than the plug in this case, it's reliant on the people who are working behind the scenes on it, and making sure that the people who are working on this platform and on filtering the data and on organizing the data understand different backgrounds, different countries, how every different country has a sort of impact on the data, because we can't base it on just half the world.
Yeah, I'm from that industry. I'm from the language industry. We've been working with the data for a long time, and it's multinational countries, but of course, companies. But of course, US is the biggest. That's where we have a kind of flow in this. But we are seeing more development in other regions, and Japan is now reviving as well. So let's hope. Let's really hope. And I echo your concern. Yeah. And another concern is that these people behind the scene is not exploit, because we are seeing in the language industry that people working like crazy and can't make their meets. That's what's happening behind the scene as well.
No, that's incredible. And it seems like, you see a lot of these images of different graphs and that widening of the gap. And it seems like there's a common thread in this discussion of initially, right now we're seeing a widening of the gap between finding a solution. We're adding more energy into the system, and over time through conversations like this, hopefully we can find some solutions and evolve. Really an excellent and fascinating exploration of AI's potential as a powerful ally, or in some cases a foe in the fight for climate solutions. It's clear that AI offers tremendous opportunities for a cleaner future, but as with any powerful technology, there are significant considerations. So now we're going to sort of transition into round two, which is a very critical conversation to have, where we're going to explore some of the things you guys touched on a little bit earlier, was the environmental and ethical concerns surrounding AI. Panelists will discuss questions like, go into more depth, does AI's computational power come at an environmental cost? How can we ensure AI development and deployment are free from bias? What are some potential unintended consequences of relying too heavily on AI for climate solutions? All right, and panelists, remember your stances can evolve in this round. You can champion environmental responsibility, highlight ethical considerations, and I might even take on that devil's advocate role, pushing boundaries to ensure we comprehensively understand the potential risks associated with AI. All right, so now let's dive into the complexities of both potential and challenges with round two, environmental and ethical concerns. Your 10 minutes starts now. And Sarah, I would love to bring you in, and anyone else. We can make this, more inclusive. And so if you would like to participate, hop into the discussion. Round two.
What's the topic?
Oh, so this is, we're talking about really AI ethics. This is environmental and ethical concerns. And so this will really give you a chance to go deeper into some of the things that y'all discussed in the last round.
Anybody?
I could start. So
yeah, Tom, go ahead.
I think I would definitely I guess in this sense, take a more faux side on AI, and I'll start on the ethical impacts. I think AI is a tool, and AI can only be as good as the person that is using that tool. So a carpenter, a hammer is only a tool for the carpenter. So you can have the best hammer in the world, but if you're not a good carpenter, you're not going to make a good house. And I think it's kind of the same thing. I don't think as a society right now, we're ready to use AI as a tool, at least ethically and responsibly. So I'll give an example. They did a study in my hometown of Colorado on predictive AI crime identification, and they found that police identified African American and Latino residents at a higher rate than white residents, and that is because the AI was trained on already racist data that came from the previous police force. And I think we could see that present in environmental situations as well, right? So if we're using AI to predict weather patterns of hurricanes and evacuations, we already know that evacuations are unintentionally race-based. So if we're already evacuating like higher income neighborhoods at a higher rate, and we train the AI on that data, then the AI will continue to perpetuate that. So AI is a tool, but I don't think right now we're ready to use that tool. And I think we need to address some of our own implicit biases before AI could be at its most effective.
Boom. Doug.
Great job, Tom. I have to say, great job. I'm just blown away from your response, young man.
Thank you.
Doug Morrison.
Yeah, I've got a few comments. We've mentioned the environmental impact of AI and the enormous amount of electricity it uses. And sometimes this has been voiced as striking a balance between the good it's doing versus the harm. But a lot of the time it's not doing good. It's not being used to solve the problems of climate change. It's being used to make big profits for people because they can market very much cheaper call centers. We won't have what's been termed as the human tax, the unfortunate requirement to use humans to do work. That's regarded as a tax by some people. Climate change is hugely important, and climate justice is also very important. It affects the most sort of underprivileged parts of the world much more than the rich West. Yet it's the rich West that's caused the problem by its greedy use of power over the years. We can't rely on AI for ethics. It doesn't even know what the truth is. When it was asked to give a reference to support some case, it just made up a reference. It had names of people that sounded like they were scientists, but they just made them up. And the institutes that they came from, they were just invented institutes. It doesn't care about the truth. So don't rely on AI for ethics.
Great points, Doug. Yuka, Mech, above. Yeah, what do you think?
I think I should be speaking before Doug. Because you keep pulling me on your side. So it's just a joke. So I really love the way Tom explained what he explained. I really love the way he stipulated that. Since the thing is, AI doesn't have a soul. So it's neither good, it's neither bad. So it's just there. That makes it very tricky to work with, or makes it very tricky to predict it. Because now it protects the owner, the person behind it, the person commanding it, or the person feeding it or training it before it makes those decisions. I'll just use the simple example of ChatGPT. We are using it. It's a very good and amazing tool. But what happens with it? It uses the data that has been there. At some point, it gives you wrong data according to what it was fed. At times it does that. Then who is behind there to ensure that it's ethical and social, it has ethical and social considerations in whatever it does? But when you talk about it being helpful when it comes to climate change and all that, yes, at some point it can do that. Maybe in terms of predicting the future, in terms of predicting the weather and all that, in terms of helping us to mitigate some issues when it comes to weather changes and climate changes, but not to give us a precise thing. So it's a very good tool, but when it comes to climate change, it's a tricky one, because again, we have other factors, other strong factors that we are trying to fight to go to a better climate situation. And when you bring AI in it, yet you just break the sustainability model of it when it comes to ethical, and deployment of it can lead to unintended social and ethical consequences. Because who is behind it? How can you pin the person behind it? anything happens with it, who do you pin at the back of it? I'll give an example of what happened in Houston when the whole company using AI tampered with a house rent in Houston. So what they did, they ended up having data of all landlords in that particular area. So when you know your landlord, what your landlord, then the next landlord is charging, obviously you'll raise your rent and all that, stopping other residents from coming to that particular area. So who are you pinning there? Is it the AI or the person behind? How do you find the person behind it? That's the tricky part of it when it comes to ethical and social part of the AI. But it's a beautiful tool. It's a good and amazing tool, but it's a tricky line there.
Thank you.
I agree. Yeah, Yuka, do you want to add in some thoughts on this?
I just sent links to Tom because he was talking about climate kind of response. I guess what you all said was it depends on the people who are behind the AI. The AI can be evil or good or angelic maybe. And I 100% echo that. And actually, some specialists, some experts of AI on ethics, they say there's no ethical AI. There's only responsible AI that is made by the responsible people and used by the responsible people. And of course, I guess what we need is the AI solution to train people to be ethical. How about that? And the link I put for Tom is the professor from the University of Washington called Luis. He was behind the machine translation at Microsoft for a long time, and he and his team leveraged that. It's not just these years, long time. They've been doing for a long time. They're applying this amazing AI solution, which is automatic translation for crisis and disaster response, because all the humanitarian organization going into Ukraine, great, who's going to make communication possible? That's when this type of AI was used. It's not a dream. We already used, and there's a link for the video. He explained about how he and his team used AI, I mean machine translation, to save lives in the crisis response situation. They work, of course, in this type of situation, they work 24 hours a day. I mean, they don't sleep, but you can see that. So maybe we can not focusing on the usage that we can't do badly, but brainstorming how we can use, how to train people to use ethically the tool, or how to use to save lives in the climate situations. And there's another organization, amazing work is done by an organization called Clear Global. They're in India or Africa where communication is difficult, and they're using AI to communicate with the people to address the situations with weather, situation with the agriculture issues, blah 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 as well. So I guess there's a usage that can be powerful. So that's what I kind of think. If there any questions?
I think, and Mech, I'll throw it to you, and then Dr. Dana Austin has her hand up, and I want to make sure we get through all of the content. I'm excited about our next round about collaboration. So Mech, do you want to close up this round with some thoughts?
Yes, it's just a bit of a hint on the same topic of ethical and social consideration. And it's a tricky one on this side. In the Europe, by 2030, the workers in the mining, there will be a shortage of 50% of workers in the minings. So when you bring technology and automation to that northern pole, it's a beautiful thing, it's a good thing. Now let's bring that same topic, same thing on the south pole. We have ASM, artisanal and small scale miners. One mine can empower the whole community, let's say 100 people, 300 people in the same place. So AI and automation and all that is a beautiful thing in the mining sector. But in Africa right now, you bring that, you close the source of income to that generation, to that community. It's a beautiful thing, but we have to put things into perspective when it comes to ethical and socially. Now you have your mine, you have employed 200 people in that mine. Then beautiful thing, most productive, low cost, it has low cost and it's effective. It's profitable. But now when you, who draws the line between you bringing that automation into the mine site where you have been employing 200 people and now they'll be chopped to a quarter of it. Because now you just need 2-3 people automating, sitting in a control room, just automating those machines and all that. How does that affect the community on the ground? And these people have been doing that for years and years, decades, and it's the only thing they know how to do. So when you talk about the global north, we talk about automation in the mining sector. It's a beautiful thing because now they're going towards shortages of workers there. But when you come to the global south, it's a different topic. We need to look at it in that dynamic lens when it comes to ethical and social consideration. That was just to point out when we are continuing with the topic.
And that to me is such a perfect way to transition to our final round. And this has been such a great conversation so far. We've heard about a lot of the potential pitfalls, but remember, as we're saying, AI doesn't have to be a foe in the fight against climate change. And so in round 3, we're going to shift gears and explore the road to collaboration. How can we foster global partnerships to leverage AI responsibly for climate action, to have conversations talking about serious topics like what Mech brought up? What frameworks and regulations can ensure the ethical and responsible development and the deployment of this powerful technology? And so panelists, this is your chance to champion collaboration, advocate for responsible AI development, or even take the devil's advocate role of highlighting potential roadblocks and advocating for a cautious yet progressive approach. And so let's explore the path forward together in round 3, the road to collaboration. And anyone can start. And Sarah, I'd love to bring you in for this round as well.
So was that me? There's somebody's moving chairs around. One of the things I was involved in was year 2000 and trying to sort out the computers. A lot of people now think there wasn't a problem, but there really was. If you think there wasn't a problem, then you're ignorant. It's as simple as that. The problems that big banks had with archaic systems was mind-bending, but there was a tremendous amount of cooperation between banks and between other institutions. Everybody realized we've all got to try and survive this together. And through that cooperation, it was tackled successfully, remarkably so, considering the number of systems there were, an ancient code that nobody alive knew how it ran, but it was embedded. So I think if we can foster a same spirit of partnership, we're all on one boat. If it sinks, we all sink.
Powerful statement. Tom, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think obviously collaboration is important with AI. This is kind of bringing back up the point that I made last round, but AI is AI is a tool. So, I mean, it's how we use the tool that's definitely more important, not necessarily AI itself. And I think we can't use the tool effectively unless we all agree on frameworks. And by like we all, I both mean like within our country, like America, my country, people that like our legislators here, and then also abroad, right? Like so GPAN is it's a great start. It's like I think it's 29 countries that are all working to collaborate on um the same kind of frameworks, but I think we need to expand upon that. I don't think we can have successful AI that's unbiased without including more global powers. And I think that's probably the next step.
Incredible. Sarah, I'd love to, can I bring you in real quick? What are your
Sure.
thoughts on this?
Yes, definitely. I agree with what everyone has just said here, right? The ethical aspects of all this. We really need to work together, right? And really understand like what are the real impacts this is going to have on our society across the board, right? You know, if you've looked into things like AGI, like those things get a little scary when you really start to think about those things. And you think about job replacement and things like that, how are we going to make sure like, you know, we're not really replacing each other and things like that. So I think the more we continue the conversation, right, we have to think of regulations, how we protect our societies, how we protect our people across the board. I think those things have to be, we have to really start to make progress in that regard.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Mech, I'd love to hear your perspectives on how, if we're thinking of the mining industry specifically, how can different parts of the world work together, collaborate, and have conversations to try to find some solutions and harness the good of technology for the better of all. Oh, Mech, I think we're your audio is might have gone out again. Let's you know, one thing that when I'm thinking about, you know, collaboration is the most critical aspect of anything, and you know, knowing how to collaborate. And so how can we bring these discussions into like K through 12 in higher education? What can we do to sort of set the strong foundation for the next generation of climate advocates to be able to enter responsibly? How can we as leaders in the world collaborate, work together to better set up the future?
Can I just say, I think what you're doing now is very much in that spirit of cooperation. It's sharing ideas and also being aware that we're in a bubble. Not everybody is sharing ideas, and not everybody is looking at how to use AI for good. Some people, remarkably, are being a bit selfish about it. And we've got to be aware of that. But us not using it isn't going to stop the people that are doing it for selfish reasons. There's one thing that people say in a lot of conversations about the importance of growth. And I'd just like to advertise this book, not written by me. It's probably in Mirror writing or something. So it's Donut Economics by Kate Raworth. And it's talking about sensible economics. It doesn't just go for growth, regardless of the consequences. And it's got a lot of good ideas in. And in the spirit of cooperation, I want ideas like that to be shared.
Awesome. And as a big fan of donuts, you know, I love the name. Mech, do you want to try again your audio again? No. Yeah, we're missing you. And if you want to add some thoughts into the chat, Doug, did you want to add another?
Well, I've got another book that I didn't bring, but it's Wise Animals. and it's about the influence of technology on man and vice versa. It tackles a lot of misunderstanding about technology. It's very important for people to understand technology, and a lot of people don't. There's a lot of misconceptions, and he goes through them. He's a great guy. I've written a review of it on Amazon, so if you look up Wise Animals, I can provide a link later. I might have a photograph of it, but that might take a bit of browsing.
Well, this is, and we're getting close. We have about 13 minutes before the top of the hour, and I want to provide, a little wiggle room afterwards if people are able to stay. We can continue the conversation, but I want to first say thank you to our spectacular panelists for stepping into this Royal Rumble and trying this idea with me. It's to talk about this complex and essential discussion on AI and climate action. Y'all have eloquently presented diverse perspectives, challenged each other's thinking, and showcased the potential and potential pitfalls of AI as a tool to address the climate crisis. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to give all of our panelists, a chance to go around and make, one last final statement, and then we'll transition into a Q&A session where it'll be more of an open conversation. And so would love to provide everyone, the panelists, a chance to make a closing statement.
Yeah, I guess I can start.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
I think that AI is a wonderful tool, and I think it will do a lot of good things for us in the future. So I'm a friend of AI, but again, I think that we just need to make sure those who are applying and use AI are using it responsibly. I think my favorite point from this topic so far was the next point about how AI has no soul. It's the humans that have the soul. So make sure the people that are actually using AI are using it responsibly, and then it can do great things for us. So I'm not.
Beautifully said, Tom. Awesome. Doug, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've been playing devil's advocate quite a bit tonight because it's fun. I'm a big fan of AI. Used responsibly, I think it can be a huge boon. There's a lot of change got to happen. And AI does allow you to do things faster. So I think it could be a huge boon, but it has to be used responsibly. I'm putting together neurodiverse teams to tackle different problems, difficult problems, and we will be using AI. So although I've sort of railed against it a bit, I am a big fan. One of the final comment is I noticed somebody said, damn autocorrect. And I think we've all probably thought that when it thinks it knows better than us. And I find that very annoying. I wrote that because that's what I want. I don't want you to put your ignorant opinion on top of it without asking thank you and without telling me, and doing it in such a way that it only becomes visible after you press send. So computers don't know better than us, but they are going to act as though they do. They act with total confidence. They make statements without caring about whether it's a 1% or 99% chance of being right.
That's so true, Doug. Thank you for those points, and thank you for playing the devil's advocate. I always enjoy doing that as well. It's always fun.
Yeah.
Mech, do you want to try one more time? And oh, sorry, Mech. I know. I know. I'm so sorry. Yuka, will you please provide us a closing statement, and then I can transition into the Q&A session?
Okay. Thank you very, very much for all the different but very similar opinions, because I guess we are not completely pro and not completely against any of us. So that's what I felt. And that's, I guess, where I am and maybe everybody else. And what I'm wondering is how to lead the young people, but wait a minute, the best way to lead is by example. Where is the example? We have to be the examples, but we are doubting. So that's where I am. Full of doubts.
And that's, we're at such a important time, but we're just at the beginning of the road. And so I think that all of the points that everyone made were spot on in that, I mean, there's still a lot to learn and there's still a lot to figure out. And so now I'd love to open things up. We have, let's use this time to ask questions. And so please take yourself off mute. We have some excellent guests here attending. So please let's open this up to some questions. Yes, Dana.
Good morning. Good morning,
Good
Jacob. This is
morning.
excellent. And I wanted to raise a few questions, but I want to start with a suggestion for AI in terms of climate change. When it comes to presenting some new technology that can really impact our society for the better, or maybe not so good even, I think it's important to take in consideration the things that we do in clinical research. So in clinical trials, you have to have a regulatory board that governs on how things are done. And then there's requirements, even for members on the board, that they represent, their sampling of the society that we're in, so that take into consideration social issues, demographics, economic, and ethical as well. So I think a regulatory board for AI is important. And also from the perspective as a writer's coach, and you know this because we've had this experience, using AI is a tool, but it shouldn't be heavily relied upon when grabbing data, because it's not always 100% accurate. And two, you want to take in consideration plagiarism. So my recommendation for this AI technology in terms of climate control is a regulatory board for AI. And then we have to look at intrinsic biases that we have as individuals that could impact the outcome. Thank you for this discussion.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you for coming, Dana. And Mark, what are some of your thoughts? What are you thinking right now? I know your brain's working.
Did you see the smoke? So yeah, thanks for inviting me, and obviously tremendous, valuable comments. And I think you need about 1 million more of these type of discussions to not even solve everything that's going to happen. And I think we're not going to solve everything that's going to happen. There's always going to be bad actors. We're all old enough to remember, not really, that when cars came in, they were killing people, and people were looking to ban cars back then because it was a bad thing, because people were getting killed on the dirt roads. They didn't expect the car to come, and so on. So there's always going to be bad actors, and regulation to a degree is also really good. The question is, can we regulate every country the same way, and have the UN lead that, so to speak? And then on the other hand, the Russians and the Americans are working together to go up into space together. So there is promise that stuff like that can happen when it gets to science, and really good things like that. I do think all the things that everybody's saying are right on the money. We're not even going to stop AI if we wanted to. So that's here. The question is, and you can't really regulate AI, but like a lot of you saying, you can regulate and support, the people that are using it. And anytime you try to tell somebody not to do something, that usually doesn't work also very well, type of thing. So I think some of the solutions are, I can give a couple of examples. There's a fellow by the name of Dean Kamen, who created the Segway, and he has an organization called First Global that we're working with that has 109 teams from 109 countries, young entrepreneurs doing robotics and STEM stuff. And in fact, this year, the Olympics, after they have the competition, the Olympics is going to be in Greece, 190 countries. And when they come in for the Olympics, you even have Iraq, Iran, Israel coming in one after the other, and they work in threes, and they come together to work stuff out. And another thing I'll just throw a pitch on, something that I know Jacob knows I love, is a social profit. By the way, we don't call them nonprofits anymore. We call them social profits. Has a program called Nonflict. and non-conflict is training people around the world to how to look at conflict differently and come to a best case scenario to work together. So things like this are the best way, I think, to have things, happen in as good a way as possible, and just keep talking with each other. That's the most important thing. But I love the discussion. Thanks.
Mark, thank you so much. And I highly recommend non-conflict. I took the non-conflict workshop in March, one of the best experiences I had. Does anybody have any final questions or thoughts before I close this up? All right. Yeah.
Yes, thanks for organizing it. I think you're doing a great job, and I hope I'll be invited back.
I like Doug's accent on the whole thing. Is what I really
adds to it for sure.
I can strengthen it as well.
and this
is the toned down version.
and this is for a debate on Zoom, like, thank you guys for playing along, because this brings up all of my Zoom fears of like like the interrupting and not sure when to talk. But this was incredible. And so to wrap up this installment of the Global Chamber AI series, I must say I've been blown away by this whirlwind of thought-provoking ideas. Huge thank you to the Global Chamber for sponsoring this insightful discussion on AI and climate action, and a round of applause for our incredible co-host Yuka Nakasone for keeping the conversation flowing and being part of the debate. To our esteemed panelists that are still here and some that had to leave, thank you for stepping into this Royal Rumble ring and offering such a diverse set of compelling perspectives. Your expertise has truly illuminated the complexities and the incredible potential of AI in tackling climate challenges. Now, for those of you, including some of our panelists that are new to the Global Chamber family, let me just say this: joining the vibrant network is unlike unlocking a treasure chest of connections. I can say that. I'll say that forever. From bustling trade hubs to emerging markets, Global Chamber opens doors to almost anywhere in the world. So if you're looking to expand your horizons and collaborate with like-minded individuals, definitely check them out. So to close, one thing we all know, and we heard a lot today, climate change can be a topic that ignites sparks. But here's the thing: sometimes the most productive conversations begin in unexpected places. Imagine meeting someone who holds completely different views. Before diving headfirst into a debate per se, take a step back, share some stories, find common ground, and discover those shared threads of humanity that weave us all together. You might be, I can guarantee you'll be surprised at the connections you make. And let's be honest, the climate crisis isn't going anywhere, but neither are we. We need all hands on deck: the passionate, the skeptical, the curious, all with a shared desire to build a more sustainable future. So let's keep these conversations going, even the ones that might get a little heated, only metaphorically speaking, because we're all about productive discourse here. And so that's all we have for today. But fear not, this AI series is a year-long magical mystery tour. Join us next month for another exciting exploration of the intersection between AI and humanity. And until then, keep those critical thinking caps on, keep the conversations flowing. And remember, so important, a little empathy can go a long way in building better relationships and a better tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us. Have an excellent day, and we'll see y'all next time. That's it. We can hang on for additional questions if you're able, but if not, thank you so much for coming. And Doug, thank you so much. You brought some really incredible energy and insights, and I'm really looking forward to learning more and having another conversation about your the neurodivergent teams, and seeing how I can add some value and help there.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Cesar, you good?
I'm good, Jacob. Thank you very much for putting this panel together. It's been great. It's great. And thank you, Yuka. And it's a pleasure meeting you, Doug. And I look forward to connecting with the others.
Yeah. So, like he said, next round, I'm going to bring this with Luis from the Washington University. If he says okay, I still don't have yes, but he has amazing work already done. Keep on going. And another person is Yumi from Clear Global. Maybe I can ask her to come because I'm doing the ethic and AI for humanity for Congress in Malaga in June. So I'm preparing that, and I can throw it online before that. So that's what I'm thinking. And thank you very much, Jacob.
Yeah, no, thank you. I know this one was a whirlwind, but hopefully
Yeah.
it was informative for all. But no,
Oh
thank
yeah,
you, everyone.
it was.
Good.
It was. It was. It was. It was good. It was good. Thank you very much.
All right.
Is it all good?
Yeah, I'm